please.
Ms. Dolan?
Here.
Ms. Belisca?
Present.
Mrs. McKnight?
Here.
Mayor Morgan?
Here.
Mrs. Jeffrey?
Here.
Mr. Koga?
Here.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Here.
Salute the flag. Maybe. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's a public meeting, Borough Council, Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey. Adequate notice has been given in accordance with PL 1975, Chapter 231, that annual notice or revision is in conformance with Section 13 of the Act. I already talked to Mr. Nadelberg, and I know why you're here, and we're nixing that whole plan with the cul-de-sac. So if you have neighbors here that don't want to sit through this whole thing, you know, you're more than welcome to stay if you want. Okay. We have public hearing and ordinances, and I'm going to go a little bit out of order because Chief Hen is here, and he can explain a lot of these with the e-bikes. Ordinance 10, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Denise, could you read the title, please?
Ordinance 2025-10 is an ordinance amending Chapter 257 of the Code of the Borough titled Vehicles and Traffic.
Okay, what this ordinance is about e-bikes and scooters, and what we're going to do is try and tighten up what's going on, like you can't ride on sidewalks, this and that. Dan, you want to come up and explain a little about it, then we'll get some public comment? And thank you for doing this, because I know we've been going through this for a good month or so.
So we want to just talk about specifically 2510, which is Chapter 257 revision. So the 257 portion of this revision would be specific to the operation of these e-bikes. For clarification, the state of New Jersey has classified Class 1, 2, and 3 e-bikes as low-speed vehicles. Class 3 bikes are similar to electric dirt bikes or electric mopeds, and as such are required to be licensed and registered with the state of New Jersey. That leaves us with the duty to enforce the Class 1 and Class 2 classifications of these types of bikes. So our goal with the revision of 257 is to provide guidance, not only one, to reinforce some of the state statutes related to it, but also to encourage our riders to maintain a proper way of operating these vehicles within the borough. Specifically, we're prohibiting the use of these Class 1 and Class 2s on sidewalks. We want to prohibit the towing, tethering, or clinging of these. So you may have seen some people sitting on the back seats, sometimes holding onto a vehicle, often, not oftentimes, but someone may have a jump rope that they're clinging another bicycle or a skateboarder to it. That prohibition is to enact that restriction. We also want to restrict the usage of a mobile device, essentially, while on the e-bike. The interesting kind of side note to that is the Board of Education is putting together a video. I got a glimpse of the video, and in one of the videos, the kid's operating the e-bike with the mobile phone. It's part of the process of that video, but even the identification of the fact that the kids are utilizing it. And further, we want to also restrict the usage of noise-canceling headphones, AirPods, earbuds, headphones. The idea is that when we're putting these bicycles on the roadway, they should be acting as such that they're watching all and hearing all of the things that are surrounding the operation of these bikes. Probably most importantly, which gets to the 257 portion of the penalties and violations, as part of our registration process, which is another ordinance that we're asking to be passed tonight, is to make the owner of the bicycle, e-bike and e-scooter understand what they have, the power that they're providing, often the juvenile population within the Borough of New Providence. So the purpose of this is not to over-police these issues, but yet have the residents understand that just purchasing these bikes and handing them to their children, there's a lot of consequences that go along with the operation of these. So when we asked, when we're going to be asking residents to register these bicycles or these e-bikes and these e-scooters, the idea behind that registration is they're indicating the type of classification they have, the wattage associated with it. We're not so concerned with the speed in the registration process because ideally, if you're registering as a Class 1 or a Class 2 e-bike, you're aware that you're limited to 19 or 20 miles an hour. Now, you may buy an e-bike that can go 40, but that's not a legal e-bike within the state of New Jersey, nor will be a legal e-bike to be registered here in the Borough of New Providence. So it's ideally when we started with this process back in September, I don't think we took a very holistic approach to what we were trying to do, and that's why we tabled it before those two tragedies down in the southern part of the county. But with that being said, I think by encompassing the registration, by encompassing the fee structure, by encompassing the usage of it in our parks and recreations, and also by limiting the operation of these e-bikes, we're giving notice to the residents that we care about the safety of not only their children, the people operating them, but the people who could be involved with any serious interaction with these unbeknownst to them. I've shared videos with many of you that, many of these drivers that get involved with some of these crashes never saw the e-bike because they weren't there when they looked left, and then suddenly they appear because of the ability for these types of devices to move very quickly without sound.
Well, I think the other portion is that we're working with the Board of Ed, and for an education process, we're not looking to jam people up, but you know what? There's been too many incidents and a lot of close calls, even in town here.
And we've had e-bike involved crashes in this town also. So luckily we haven't had anything super serious, but we have had motorists who have struck e-bike users within the borough. And to your point, Mayor, the education campaign, we had a meeting last week to kind of kick that education campaign off, to really craft a very strong message on social media, on paper, and through any opportunity that we can to get the word out to the borough on what the plan is to implement this, what the plan is to move forward with our education campaign, and then move into a warning phase, and then move into a citation phase. I don't envision that citation phase to be happening anytime soon. Ideally, because of the length of this approval process and the potential for a lot of these e-bikes to move into people's garages for the next 3 months, our probably target goal is going to be more so along the enforcement and education campaign in the early springtime. But we'll do like a little kickoff, pre-holiday. Hey, if you're going to buy one of these, make sure you know what you're buying and start there. But ideally, the biggest education push will happen this springtime.
Chief, how does our ordinance compare to neighboring towns, or
So
what you've seen across the state?
yeah, this is a sincerely local issue that we're finding. So the Union County Chiefs of Police Association is attempting to sponsor doing a countywide that's the culprit.
That's the culprit.
No, we're good. Don't touch it.
Freeze.
The Chiefs Association is attempting to put together a countywide video. The unfortunate part of those things is that throughout the county, we're seeing varying enforcement issues. Many towns don't have local ordinances related to these yet. They're probably in the discovery phase right now. Our neighbors to the East Summit have created an ordinance. Their goal of their ordinance was really to prohibit most of this usage within their downtown. That's probably where they were seeing the biggest concern for the motoring public. I'm not aware that Berkeley Heights has one in place yet. So, yeah, I mean, certainly statewide, you know, will we likely see further restrictions by the state? I think that it's been proposed that the Assembly will probably tackle this in the springtime. But until that time, you know, that could mean, you know, some of these ordinances might change, but for now, they'll be in place.
Sounds good. Okay, I'll open it up. Any questions?
I just
from you
wanted to
guys?
say thank you for working on this. I know that, you know, we were looking at it back in September, and instead of just pushing it through, we tabled it so that you could be more thoughtful and comprehensive with this. We all know that it's super important, and, you know, we've seen what has happened and what can happen, and, you know, just putting the time and thought into it is super important.
And to that point, I also want to, you know, part of public safety, we've discussed this ordinance going back into the summertime. And, you know, I hate to have reactionary policies, but I don't know if it's the law change itself in 2024, or if it's just a proliferation of these within this community, but we're clearly seeing an issue that we need to react to. And I certainly, you know, our traffic unit takes micromobility very seriously, and we talk about pedestrian access, safe routes to school, people walking, people biking. I think as a community do a really good job focusing on those issues. And this is one of those issues that I think not only should we be telling everybody where they're supposed to be, which they should be in the roadway, but we're also putting some responsibility on them to hold themselves accountable for it. Because the safety of the pedestrians and the safety of the vehicles pulling out of driveways is being compromised by the operation of these.
In fact, all the mayors I talk to, this subject comes up all the time. And all of them are saying, I wish the state would just come up with one policy to go so everybody abides by the same rules. But like you said, it takes a long time to get a passage, to get a law passed. So we're lucky if they come up with something in the spring.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, Chief, you mentioned education would be coming next, so the
Yep.
Board of Ed is working on something. Do we have the timing on when that,
So-
we can anticipate seeing that?
Yeah, the Board of Ed video was more of a generic type of video. We initially tried to, you know, foster a relationship there to do something with their population. I think they were seeing some issues locally, and the school moved on an opportunity to create that video ahead. I don't know if it's been put out publicly. I've just seen maybe I've seen the draft of it. But in it, it talks about general bike safety, crossing out crosswalks, e-bike safety. It doesn't address any of the things that we talk about here. It certainly doesn't address the classifications of the nitty-gritty of the e-bike stuff. So, you know, we have our goal probably with a video campaign is probably to bring in. We have, you know, a lot of kids that interact with the police department in a very friendly manner and work within our youth academies that want to, you know, pitch in the way that they can. So we want to give them the opportunity to participate in this video creation that we'll probably put together.
Okay, good.
We're getting better and better at it, as you can see in some of our Facebook stuff. So,
And that's also for outside of the school as well, right? So for like younger adults who are not in the education system, they'll
yeah,
also,
so that's only, I mean, that's just one
Just a
component. The
small
school
part of it.
is one
Yep.
component, but, yeah, we'll utilize every social media outlet that we have. We will, we'll create leave behinds with the registration. So when you register and we send you your decal, you'll get the borough ordinance, the kind of quick hit, you know, quick facts on the rules. The intention is to, when you sign up for the registration, that the person will acknowledge the fact that they have looked at the borough ordinance, and how we link that still has to be created, but we'll want to create that in the registration process. So, you know, every single one of those, and then ideally we'll do blitzes, like, you know, whether we're at Starbucks or whether we're at a school event. How we're going to do that, we haven't really nailed down, but ideally anytime we can see part of the population that we're really targeting, and that targeting right now is that juvenile population, we certainly want to be able to try to get in front of them and incentivize them and their parents to get themselves registered so that they know what they got.
perfect, thank you.
Okay, at this time, Anyone from council have any questions about this ordinance and this ordinance only?
Nothing from council.
Huh?
Not from council.
Not from council.
We're good.
Oh, public. Oh, yeah, so, any public comments on this ordinance only? Yes, Steve? Need your name and address.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Steve Corellis, 35 Sycamore Avenue in Berkeley Heights. I'll only do this introduction once because I'll probably be up for the other ordinances on this subject. I had the state chapter of the National Motorist Association, and more recently, I'm the vice chair of Berkeley Heights Complete and Green Streets Committee. And I can tell you, we've been dealing with this issue too, and I think that Berkeley Heights it has its mobility issues, as you've recognized, all municipalities have. But early indications seem to indicate that Berkeley Heights will probably take a different approach than what I'm seeing here in New Providence. But that's still to be determined. We don't have an ordinance yet. There are plans, I understand, to do that. Regarding the operation, the ordinance we're talking about on operations, the only thing I was here when it was tabled and thought, you had your choices is what you wanted to do, and okay, that was handled well. Clearly, these laws are applicable to residents and non-residents alike, and I was going to come here hoping that there would be an education outreach on the change in law for residents, and that the chief talked about that, and you'd expect that had to happen. But I'm going to raise the question, how do you plan to handle non-residents? Like perhaps police do an on-the-spot education when an observed violation that is unique to the borough happens, something like that. I want to raise that issue because all these towns are going to have these
Good
different.
question. That's why I said, that's why we need a state law. And so everybody conforms to the same law. But right now, that's at least 6 months out.
I understand.
You know how
I
Trent
follow,
works.
I follow, and I'll bring
Yeah.
something up on that later when we do, with regard to the
Right.
registration. And then just the other point I wanted to make is the provision for allowing the police to confiscate any electronic device, electric transportation device being operated in violation of the ordinance. Now, I noted no provision in the ordinance for getting the device back. So I'd ask, will that be possible in general or under certain circumstances? Hopefully it won't happen, but.
We don't want to be, onerous about this thing. We did talk about the out of town, right, Dan? And we said we'd probably give them a warning and say, bone up on the rules when you're in here, but.
Yeah, so that's always a challenge, right?
Right.
Because this is a borough ordinance, not a state statute. A borough ordinance that we have here in the Borough of New Providence is that you're not allowed to park on the street from 2 to 5 a.m., right? So how do we do that? We sign each entrance within the Borough of New Providence.
Right.
Certainly, we could put a sign underneath that sign that indicates e-bikes to be operated on the roadway. I think that would be the goal of probably the first way to alert somebody entering the town that there is an e-bike ordinance in effect with the borough. I don't think it's a heavy lift to do that. Unfortunately, signs become white noise, but it is a way to notify the public.
Right.
And that was the key point, too,
Yeah.
the sidewalk issue. If you talk about the whole
Sidewalk's
list.
probably the most important thing that we're talking about from an adult standpoint.
Right.
We're not going to be enforcing helmet laws with adults. And then just to answer your question about
The confiscation?
the confiscation, we have no desire to own these things.
Yeah.
We have limited space to hold them. The idea behind them is the confiscation is to take custody of them and then immediately return them. If we have it registered, we know the owner is, we return them back over.
I'm not talking about it because it's part of the registration ordinance, but that goes to Lentz to, forbid, inspect, that kind of stuff. This is its own provision under the violations law for confiscation, which many municipalities and states allow it. I was just asking, can you get it back? That was the.
Yes,
Yeah.
we don't want it.
We don't want, even yes, even if they do have a sidewalk in the gate.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank
Anyone else? Yeah, Brian.
Howdy. Brian Gardner, 25 Knollwood Avenue. I'm asking this only just because it came up for my wife a couple nights ago, but are there any provision for lights or reflectors being required on the bike for use after dark? Because she had a close encounter, just for, you know, they didn't have reflectors or anything like that.
So our current ordinance does not. I don't want to speak to something I don't know whether or not there's a statute requiring the manufacturing of these types of things that require them to have them. I can't say that it shouldn't be part of the ordinance. At this point, it's not part of this particular ordinance to have in place.
Okay. And I wouldn't want to hold this up over that, but maybe it's something we can look at in the future.
Well, we can always amend the ordinance at a later date.
Okay.
That's a good point, though.
So the only concern related to that is it may put an undue burden on the police department to begin inspecting these. Now, if I recall all the verbiage in the registration process, it says may inspect. I don't have the resources to inspect all of these bicycles. So the idea behind somebody who may make a complaint that this is taking place or that bike that we may confiscate is not in violation, we would have the ability to inspect that at that point under the ordinance. So by putting it in there, it kind of forces our hand to have to do that, and I just don't know if we have the resources to do that, especially at the onset of the registration process.
Thank you.
I can address that point.
Okay.
Yeah, operation, if someone's going to operate, let's say, at least an e-bike at night, you really do need a light, and if going forward, and to be seen. And it's covered, that aspect is required for bicycles under state law. And the way the e-bike statute's written, what applies to bicycles applies to them, so they must have it. Now, the issue is, if you're going to enforce something for someone's safety, to make sure they understand, if they're riding at night and they don't have it, that's when you go and do the enforcement. If they don't happen to have it during the day, maybe they never ride at night, doesn't matter. So it's covered.
Thank you. Yeah, the way I look at it, these are motor vehicles. They should be held under the same statute.
Yeah,
So,
I
yes,
think, just to clarify, my name's Tanner Toole, 15 Clinton Avenue. I believe that all that is required for Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes are what is required for bicycles. What's required is reflector, front reflector, back reflector, and a bell. So no lights are required. I don't believe that changes at night. I don't think you would have to take a light and a reflector on and off. So I just want to make that point also, that if that's what's being for a bike, that's what's a Class 1 and
well,
Class 2
Chief, you'll look into
So
that.
I think
Yeah.
that could be added.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, just for that point, I think part of, especially the leave behind stuff, we would wind up putting that state statute that indicates that. We just have to do some research and get the exact statute.
Verbiage, yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, I declare the hearing closed. Roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you all taking comments on the
Just-
changes to 143 and 147 as well?
No,
Yeah,
just on
number
this.
10 right now, and then we'll do the other one. Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Gillespie?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Cogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Okay, let's see. Let's go to 14. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Please read the title, Denise.
Ordinance 2025-14 is an ordinance amending Chapter 147 of the Code of the Borough of New Providence entitled Fees and Licenses.
What this is the registration, this and the next one. So you want to,
So this particular one, I don't know the procedure of how you do this, but 147 is less impactful than, which is 2514, than then 2515, which is
Yeah.
establishing the e-bike registration. So you need 2515, right? And 2514 is really just updating the fee ordinance. So probably more important to talk about is 15, because
Okay,
if,
so when do we do, we have to do one at a time, so I need a motion for 15.
So
moved.
Second,
Second.
please read the title.
Ordinance 2025-15 is an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of New Providence, establishing chapter 143 entitled Electric Scooter and Electric Bicycle Registration.
Okay, Danny, if you could go through both of them, that would save us some time.
yeah,
This
so,
one is just codifying the first,
yeah, so 143 really is, we had a very outdated bicycle ordinance that is being repealed as part of a bigger package that you'll do this tonight. So the creation of Chapter 143 is very similar to the bicycle ordinance that exists currently on the borough ordinance books, except it shifts the registration from bicycles to e-bikes and e-scooters. Essentially, as I previously kind of touched upon, we will, borough residents will be required to register a Class 1 or Class 2 e-bike. Ideally, we would have this person go through our borough website. If you've registered gotten a leaf permit or registered your dog or cat, the license process would look very similar to that. You'd fill out a couple of questions. Ideally, the questions that we would be looking outside of the ownership information would be, what's the make, model, and color of this e-bike, the classification, so whether it's a Class 1 or Class 2, we obviously wouldn't allow a Class 3 to register because that needs to be registered with the state of New Jersey. And then we would ask the owner to provide us the wattage. And one particular thing that we wanted to just also capture was the battery type, if they have the ability. There's varying different types of battery technology that are out there, some safer than others. And we just want the idea behind this is that the owner is really doing their due diligence to understand what they're inputting into the system and what they've purchased, right? So once we capture that information, there will be a specific question to ask, will the primary operator of this be a juvenile? And that would be a yes or no. And then the last portion of the registration process would be advising the owner, if the owner of the registered owner, that they've been made aware of what the borough ordinances are related to this. The fee structure on it is $20 for the sake of not to be a moneymaker at all. I think probably in the beginning, this will not generate any revenue. It'll actually probably lose money. It'll cost more money for us to actually do it than to make money on this. But, from the cost perspective of what these bikes, what they're available to the public, I don't believe that the cost of the registration is an impediment to getting the bike into the system. Considering that, can you find an e-bike on Amazon or, on a secondhand market for $100 or $200? You certainly can. But generally, these run between $400 and $500 and can be $1,500, $1,600 at a reputable bike outlet. So anybody who's willing to spend $400 or $500 on an e-bike, I don't think should be concerned. I don't want to say be concerned. That's probably an improper use, but shouldn't have. Should be less concerned about paying $20 for a registration and more about that registration process providing them real good insight into what they're doing and what they are being held accountable to by the residents of this town. So.
I know I like the part about the battery because the fire department is very concerned about these batteries. And same with what you see what's happening, especially in the cities. That apartment complexes go up and it doesn't take much. You can't put those things out, so.
Certainly
Burnout.
the newer technology does prevent some of this, these fires, but, we can't police all of these things. So ideally, again, we're asking the registrant to understand what they're registering, right?
And the other ordinance is just codifying
It's essentially codifying the
Yeah.
$20
Yeah.
to put into the system for them to collect the $20 on it.
Anybody on council have a
I
question?
will, and before you ask, I just want to add one more thing. So ideally, from the registration process, once you submit that registration process, we would provide you that decal. It'll be a high-vis decal. The idea behind that high-vis decal is it's supposed to limit your interaction with us, so we see it right away. We don't need to know that the bike's not registered, so we can move, obviously, if there's not an operation issue, right? And then with that registration decal, we'll also provide another format of like a frequently asked questions. Here's the ordinances. Here's what certain types of bike look like. Be aware of what you're purchasing, right? Or what you've purchased.
Right.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
sir.
that was going to be my question is, on the form that's going to be filled out for registration, will there be a link to the ordinances that are relevant to, you're asking them to document that, yes, they've read the ordinances?
Yeah, so ideally, like, how you can't say, you can't sign off on something until you click that terms of service, right?
Right.
On a normal website. The idea behind is you can't hit the submit button until you've clicked on that,
You're forced to go
143,
through-
257.
Okay,
yeah.
good. That just
Yeah,
wanna
and
make
maybe it'll
sure
just
that-
link you back to the borough website. That's probably the easiest way to do
Yeah.
it. But I think once you've also registered, that'll come with your registration decal.
Okay.
We'll put it in print too for
Okay,
that.
perfect.
Yeah.
And then, does it need to be renewed at all?
No, it's in
registration? No.
perpetuity, so once you do it once.
Lifetime?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay, at this time, public hearing on these two ordinances. Raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Hello again. Again, Tanner Tool, 15 Clinton Avenue. So I would ask the council and police chief here to consider tabling this or voting no for this registration. I know it seems a little counterintuitive. I support pretty much everything that was in the first ordinance. Getting bikes off the sidewalks, reducing those interactions, I think is ideal. I would like to state that the state legislature looked at registration for Class 1 and Class 2 at the beginning of 2024. A lot of advocates and interest groups for cyclists, NJ Bike Walk, Tri-State Transportation campaigns that came out against this. Really their point was that registration isn't necessarily going to make things safer. I think the way this program is set up, now that I've heard a little more details, I'm a little less hesitant to say it's a bad idea, but I just worry it could be a deterrent for anyone who's interested in an e-bike, especially an adult. That's just one more thing that they have to do, and I am just hesitant to create another barrier for someone who might want to get rid of their car, because this isn't going to be a popular thing to say, but the most dangerous thing on our roads are cars and vehicles. I know. And I worry it could be difficult for the police to enforce. It's just one more thing. So I was ready to come out very strongly and say this is, all the changing in how they need to operate on the road is good, but this is bad, not ideal, but I'm a little less now. But I just think this is really about safety for our kids. That's kind of what this whole focus is. That's who a lot of this is for. So I think even having a registration for anyone under the age of 16 or 18 might be an ideal, because if there's an adult who's fully grown, has a fully formed brain and knows how to operate something, I'm not sure providing this and creating another barrier for them to get out of their car onto a bike is ideal. So, thank you.
Thank you. I think the primary thing about this ordinance and the registration is education. You're mandated to go get it, and at that time you'll be given a pamphlet, you'll be given all the information, and it also will let us know what kind of e-bike is in, like a garage, if it's a low propensity battery or whatever. So,
Yeah,
Anybody?
I would also make a
Yes.
comment that, because it's one and done, it's not like the pet licenses where
Right.
we're paying every year. This is just probably
Yeah.
just administrative fees in general, and plus, from the public safety aspect, it was just a way for the police to have a good way to interact with the person on the e-bike versus just,
It's the opening for a conversation, it's the opening for them to read the ordinances, it's, and it's, people get, leaf permits and cat licenses.
No,
don't
I
think
agree with
it's-
Tanner. I
yeah.
think if this was every single
Oh,
year
if
with
it was
a
every
fee,
year,
it'd be,
yeah.
it's
But
a
one
softer
and
blow.
done
It's a one
is-
and done.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it is a motor vehicle, right? It has an electric motor and it's on the streets and it's, expected to follow the traffic laws that cars are expected to follow. And so I think it's super important that we're, the chief is doing the right thing and like addressing how to operate the vehicle for the juveniles that are using it, but also putting in a measure that will theoretically enforce the owner, the parent, to get familiar with the ordinance, because at the end of the day, they will likely be responsible for paying the fine if their child violates the ordinance. So I think they need to understand what they're signing up for with the operation of this e-bike. And so it's handling, the registration is good to see who has actually been registered, but by being registered, it means that the legal guardian of that person has read and understands the ordinance as well. So I think that's actually a good idea.
right, anyone else? Yes, Steve.
Steve Curlis again, 35 Sycamore Avenue, Berkeley Heights. Great segue from the gentleman talking about the Trenton and legislation there. I was at the hearing that he talked about, so I know the reaction that he was talking about. Probably the bigger problem there was the requirement for insurance to be, for the whole insurance, which includes personal injury protection, liability, and uninsured motorists, which there isn't a product for yet. So that made it difficult. Otherwise, it was a straightforward registration. With the MVC for $8, but it's annually, but it's renewed. So, to your point. But I just wanted to be. It sounds like from the nods you're aware of that legislation, and there's another bill that just was introduced as this lame duck session is starting that does the same thing, only it has an education component to the registration process, kind of like was described here. But it still has the insurance, so who knows where that's going to go. And I was wondering, it begs the question, why, assuming you didn't know about it, why you didn't wait to find out what happens during lame duck. But I guess since you do, you decided you wanted to just take the initiative and get this going.
They won't even be voting on this. They'll wait for the new assembly to get in, so.
Like I said, a lot of strange stuff happens in lame duck,
Well,
and I'm going to be watching it. So, but the more specific now to your document, I just noticed that there's no date following the ordinance adoption and publication to allow for registration compliance, because I presume a process that I heard about needs to be put in place for registration and time to comply before enforcement starts. Now, if it's not specified, it's probably
We've
informally.
already discussed that. We're gonna wait till almost the spring. Anybody else is
Yeah,
gonna be getting warnings.
I heard
You
that.
know, we're not here to
Yeah.
harass people. We just wanna educate people, that's all.
These are the things I look for in legislation, because these are the realities.
Right.
But I understand you guys' good faith here. And regarding provision 143-6 in the registration ordinance, the part where police officers may inspect the electric conveyances, determine if the tag's there or if it's in proper mechanical condition. What I want to ask is, what happens if the user isn't a New Providence resident? This section doesn't include mention of registration applicability to borough residents only. So I'm presuming, like, once an officer learns that the user isn't from a borough, that should be the end of it. But the questions you raised, how far will that determination go? Will answering a residency question be enough? Will identification be required, especially for a minor who may not have one? Things to think about. And the last point is, under that proper mechanical condition provision, will a non-resident be subjected to that, forbidden by police to use the conveyance until fixed and
Well, I would
inspected.
imagine if there is something that's not safe on the bike, you're not gonna let them out of town or not, you know?
You don't, yeah, of course, I know you don't want it.
Yeah, so, understand, I think that the culture of what we're trying to accomplish here is not to be the bike police, right? I think by all means, yes, an ordinance does give us, if we can't visibly see a registration decal, it gives us the opportunity to stop somebody to see if that license was registered. If, I think, I think many of us here in this room probably can attest that, our police department really does a good job of trying to connect with the community. And in the sense that when we are, let's say from the juvenile standpoint, when the juveniles identify themselves as living at XYZ street and their parents' names are this, we can certainly give them a call, release the individual on the scene and let them know that the parents at the time, not unlike we would do with any other type of juvenile matter, right? Interacting with somebody who is passing through, going to work, utilizing one of these things, it could become an issue of if the officer is looking to see if that bike's been registered, by not seeing that and stopping that person and
Right.
asking them, they do have to provide identification to show. If they said, hey, I live in Summit, I live in Chatham, I live, someplace else that I'm riding from, I hate to use the word catch and release, but it's like, okay, you don't comply, you don't have to comply, you're not a resident, you just go about your way. Unless there was an operation issue related to how they were operating.
Right, of course. That's it, right.
Does
Yeah.
that answer your questions?
Yeah, well, what's nice about me being a non-resident, I can ask the non-resident questions. And it's like, they are technical, and you hope for, good faith and all that. But, you have to raise the questions to have the public discussion, that shows how you're going to operate, because it's a non-resident issue, there are, as I talked about in the prior meeting, we'll have its issues. So just wanted to raise them, full disclosure.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else? Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna Zane, 54 Brookside. Just a question, as someone who registered her children's bicycles a couple of decades ago and got the little decal. I appreciate that this isn't an annual thing, but at some point, the bikes that you do register are going to go off the road. Is there a follow-up, like every other year you have to register but not pay a fee or something like that? So you don't have a database of outdated bicycles. That was my only question, because when I got rid of my kids' bicycles, I peeled off my little decal.
I don't believe so. I don't know how the collection portion of, maybe Denise can answer that, of how long that would be databased or how it's databased. But for our purposes, I don't see the value personally of asking somebody to come back 2 years from now and say, hey, I want to just, even for that fee, tell you I still have this. It's not a motor vehicle, it's a one-time investment, it's like a bicycle from the perspective of how the previous ordinance was written.
It's more of a question of, is any part of this to have an idea of what's on the road?
No,
Okay.
no, it's really just the main focus of
Is
this
education.
is education.
Okay.
Is that you're registering to, as I said, that you understand what you purchased and how you're gonna operate this within the borough.
Okay.
There is verbiage to, if you sell your bike to someone else, they have to register it. So you have to actually notify that it's been sold, or the new person has to register it in their own name and address. So there is that within the ordinance.
Within the borough?
Yes, so
Okay.
if it transferred ownership, a transfer of ownership is in the previous bicycle ordinance. If, I sold it to my neighbor, your neighbor would still be responsible for re-registering that under their information rather than riding on the other person.
And if they sold to somebody out of town, you wouldn't have to do that.
Right, yes.
Thank
I
you.
just like to keep my databases clean. So, yeah.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed. Can I have a roll call for 15, please?
Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Okay, can I have a roll call for 14, please?
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Okay. Chief, thank you. Appreciate all the work that you really put
We
into
got
this.
16.
16.
Oh, yeah.
Parks and Rec.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay?
So the summary of 191 is actually a lot simpler. It's really just articulating the prohibition of these usage on areas not specifically designed to be utilized in our parks and recreation space. One particular add, I believe, in that ordinance was to add the turf in there on a lot of these fields, because we don't want some of these wheels with the torque that they have to then tear up turf specifically, so we added that language in there. But it was really just following the executive order that the county issued after the incidences in the other jurisdictions within the county that limited it, and we added it to our ordinance just to have that same impact.
Just a quick question, Dan.
Yep.
Kid rides their bike, e-bike, scooter to Oakwood Park, parks it in the parking lot, all good.
Yep.
But not around the track, not around the playground, not on the field.
Not up on the, the baseball field and, riding it through
confirm.
riding it through the groomed wooded areas that, the
Yep.
trails and stuff like that.
That's an interesting point, though, because they're expensive bikes, and we're gonna need to look into places to put them for people that are
Lock
going to
'em
the
up.
parks.
Lock 'em
To lock
up.
them up, right. I wouldn't wanna leave my
That's not his
$2,000 No, I'm just.
Sometimes I go, that's my limit, I'll pull back on my
He
limitations.
just enforces it, not.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they take jackets.
Yeah, I think Alan Swanson has told me that e-bikes don't fit in typical bike racks. I don't know if that's true, or,
Or maybe we could just put a U-shaped bar.
It depends. A typical bike rack, the wheel width is for like a mountain bike.
Bike
Yeah.
The
rack,
e-bike he
yeah.
drives has a much fatter
Something
wheel.
to lock
yeah,
into.
yeah. So,
But something to
Someone
think
can
about,
look
not
into
for Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone want to comment on ordinance 16? Seeing no one, roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
yes.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm glad you did that first.
Yeah, well, I don't want to keep Dan all night either. I think you're good, right?
You're welcome, Mr.
For what? You can. Okay, ordinance 08, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, please read the title.
Ordinance 2025-8 is an ordinance of the Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey, creating Chapter 116, planting, growing, and containment of bamboo for the code of the borough.
As everybody knows, if they've been watching the council meetings, that bamboo is an invasive species, and it's very difficult to get rid of, and it just grows everywhere once it starts. So my understanding is, the council came up that you're gonna eliminate the 30-day remediation process,
Yes.
and the rest is gonna stay. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody on council have something to say about it besides that? No? Anybody from the public have a comment? Seeing none, I declare the public comment closed. Roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 12, can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Please read the title.
Ordinance 2025-12 is an ordinance adopting a revision and codification of the ordinances of the Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey.
What this ordinance does is consolidate a couple of ordinances into one to make it a lot more efficient. Okay, anybody have a comment from the public? Seeing no one, roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Joffre?
Yes.
Mr. Kogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 13. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, what this ordinance is, please read the title.
Ordinance 2025-13 is an ordinance to adopt Chapter 13 of the Code of the Borough of New Providence entitled Assessors Municipal.
What we're doing is, on this, is just cleaning up some of our ordinances and making them more clear and efficient. Anybody wish to address council on this? Seeing no one, I declare public hearing closed. Roll call, please.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Joffre?
Yes.
Mr. Kogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Okay, I need approval of minutes of October 28th, please.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes. Aye.
No, so be it. Okay, we have correspondence, Board of Adjustment for 87 Commonwealth, a grant letter, Kids Recreation Trust Fund, and we've been awarded $20,000 for the trust fund and $3,000 for Greening Union County program. Union County Board of Commissioners, emergency special meeting, and emergency funds for the issuance of the SNAP, what is that, $5 million for the SNAP program. Hopefully they won't have to use it, because it looks like they're gonna settle the shutdown. Township of Chatham, establishment of flood hazard areas, and we've already done this a number of times. Fire Department, reinstating membership of Michael Piana, and we welcome Chief Piana back into the fold. He is definitely a cherished member. Board of Adjustment for 25 Madison Avenue. Any comments? Seeing none. Okay, let's go to council business. Diane, community activities.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2025-275 is a salary resolution. We're just approving, it's to approve the hiring of 2 additional basketball coaches. And that's it.
Okay. Engineering, Alex.
Thank you. It's a long list, so bear with me.
Yeah.
I woke up
You
in,
got the lion's share.
in
That's what
Miami
you get
this
for
morning.
going away.
Yeah, Florida was much nicer. All right, Resolution 2025-276, resolution approving requisition R25-02163 for Montana Construction Corp. in the amount not to exceed $2,613.60 for emergency storm drain repair traffic control costs. So this is approving additional charges from the PO for traffic control during some of the emergency repair work. Resolution 277, resolution approving requisition R25-02164 for Montana Construction Corp. Inc. in the amount not to exceed $4,723 for storm sewer cleanout Springfield Avenue, BC-bid-2313. So this is for approving the payment for cleaning and televising 229 feet of 12-inch pipe, storm sewer pipe. So that was partially collapsed and marked for replacement. All right, Resolution 278, resolution approving requisition R25-02236 for Montana Construction in the amount not to exceed $128,000 for storm drain improvement on 4th Street, BC-BI bid 23-13. So this approves storm drain lining from 4th Street to the outfall. So some of the work that includes, it's to jet back and to camera equipment to cut and remove any and all root balls, protruding laterals, perform approximately 700 linear foot of cleaning and TV inspection of the drain, furnish and install 250 linear feet of 12-inch liner at the catch basin on 4th Street to the manhole on 3rd Street, and furnish and install 470 linear feet of 15-inch liner from MH's manhole, okay, different nomenclature that I'm used to, from the manhole to the 3rd Street outfall. So all of this work is scheduled for November 17th. Resolution 279, resolution appointing Eric Delizio as part-time electrical subcode official and electrical inspector for the Borough of New Providence, County of Union, and State of New Jersey. So this is just for Eric as a part-time electrical inspector, starting November 12th. Resolution 280, resolution approving progress payment number 2 for grade construction, an amount of $99,879.66 for the Community Pool Bridge Replacement Project. So this is payment number 2, progress payment number 2 for grade construction to the replacement of the pool bridge. Resolution 281, resolution approving contract with the Environmental Design, Inc. for asbestos monitoring at the Old Borough Hall building in an amount not to exceed $33,339, Bergen County Co-op, BC-RFP-25001. So this approves the monitoring of some of the remediation work at Old Borough Hall as part of the Police Department renovation project. So we all know Police Department's going to move in there temporarily while construction is happening. So this is just for all the remediation work that needs to take place to comply with federal, state, and local regulations for the project. Resolution 282, resolution approving contract with Lillich Corporation for asbestos abatement at Old Borough Hall, building in the amount not to exceed $173,500, Bergen County Co-op BC RFQ-22-013. Just as it reads, this is to test and remove the hazardous material that might come up. I think they've assessed it. We walked it through. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, a couple things. Want to thank you guys for really keeping up with the stormwater. Like I've said to everybody, this is a long-term plan. You only have X amount of dollars to do so much. So we're trying to hit a lot of these hot spots to take care of this. So, but in every budget year, we're going to be putting money aside and take care of more and more as we go along. And for the remediation at the Old Borough Hall, this has to get done. If we ever rent that building again, or if we use it again, we're going to have to take the asbestos out anyway. So, thank you. Okay, finance, Lisa.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2025-283 is a resolution of the Borough of New Providence authorizing the purchase of electricity supply services for public use on an online auction website. What we're doing here is granting authority for our borough administrator to execute an electricity contract on behalf of the borough. A couple of things that need to be achieved, a price of 0.0899 or less for a 12-month term per kilowatt, right? That's kilowatt? Yeah. 0.08817 per kilowatt or less for an 18-month term, 0.0901 kilowatt or less for a 24-month term. So this is, you do this every year, right? You, every few years. I recall going out to auction. We usually fare pretty well, so hopefully we get the same result this year. 2025-284 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2025 budget pursuant of NJSA 40A4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948-2025, Greening Union County Grant. This is inserting $3,000 into the 2025 budget for the Greening Union County Grant for tree replacement. Resolution 2025-285 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2025 budget pursuant of NJSA 40A4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948-2025, Kids Recreation Trust Fund Grant. As we were saying before, this is inserting $20,000 into the 2025 budget for the Kids Recreation Trust Fund Grant. We're going to be using the money for various recreation supplies like swings, chains, tennis nets, straps, locks for supply bins, etc. 2025-286 is a resolution authorizing the payment of the attached bills payable list in the amount of $8,468,886, $885.98 Significant items include our November tax levy for the Board of Ed, $7,502,826. Our progress payment to professional property appraisers, we're doing our reval, $323,436. Horizon Healthcare for our November healthcare, $144,124. The library's November appropriation was $104,957, and Deaco contracting progress payment for the pool bridge, $99,879. Resolution 2025-287 is a transfer resolution. This is approving the transfer of funds within budget accounts. That's very common this time of year. The New Jersey local budget law only allows these transfers in November and December. 2025-288 is a resolution refunding or applying overpayment of taxes to certain property owners. There were 5 properties where there were where we're refunding duplicate tax payments.
Okay, personnel, Alex.
Thank you, Mayor. So just one item, authorizing to hire a deputy tax assessor. So I believe it's 5 to 10 hours a week, more or less, just to help within the office.
Okay, public safety, we have a raffle application, RA 1248, and it was properly prepared and reviewed. Resolution 289, appointing Edgardo Aguilar as a probationary officer starting on January 1st. And Resolution 290, authorizing sale of property no longer needed for public use, and you can look at it on the website. And some of the things are pretty cool. Auction performed by Gov Deals, which includes a 2010 Jeep Liberty and a 2006 Acura TL. Couldn't do that when my Mustang got totaled, huh? All right, Public Works. Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 291 is a resolution approving requisition R250-2188 for PCS Pump and Process, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $262,990 for replacement of sewer plant automation system through our North Jersey Wastewater Co-op B-471. So this is a, as you can see by the amount, critical automation system at our wastewater treatment plant. This system actually is running on Windows 98, which really isn't even supported anymore. Anytime anything breaks down, our wastewater treatment plant director fixes it himself, basically. We've been setting money aside for years through our capital budgets for this, and so I'm glad to see that we're finally taking care of it.
Just a comment on that. I know people raise their eyes when they hear Windows and DOS. It's very common for old systems to work on that platform. I have many that are. And I think for plant operators, when you're used to something that works, you're just willing to keep making it work than to try something new. But this is definitely a great improvement.
Yeah. It's going to take about 4 to 5 months to upgrade for that. Resolution 292 is a resolution approving requisition R250-2189 for WW Granger, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $9,620.31 for emergency replacement of variable frequency drive for low lift pump number 2 at the wastewater treatment plant through the New Jersey State Contract 19 Fleet 00566. So this is a replacement for our pump 2, which we actually did replace earlier in the year, and it failed. It's still under warranty, but when you repurchase through warranty, process can take months. So it's a very critical pump, and with the rainy season coming, we're going to replace it. And through our wastewater treatment plant, Tony always does a great job of making sure when he needs spare parts, we have spare parts available. So this will also be a good opportunity for him to replace this pump and have it when the new one comes in as a spare.
Yeah, one more comment. VFD drives, what do they mean?
VFD?
Variable frequency drive.
I knew that.
So, but what does that do? No.
If I knew I was gonna be tested.
Also very common for them to fail. It's just a speed controller, so it adjusts how much power is needed to pump based on the demand. But
Interesting.
very common failure point too. That's enough of engineering.
Okay, Resolution 293 is a resolution employing Julian Holzitzer Cartagena as third plant operator in the wastewater treatment plant of the Borough of New Providence, and I apologize if I butchered your name. This is a hiring for our third plant operator in our wastewater treatment plant. The start date is November 17th. This was a position that we had approved back in, I believe, September. Shared services?
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, you're on a roll.
Okay. Resolution 294 is a resolution approving shared services agreement for the wastewater operations and maintenance between the Borough of New Providence and the City of Summit. So this is our shared services agreement that we have with Summit. This is actually a great shared services opportunity that we have with them. We've had this arrangement since 2011. Our wastewater treatment operators are shared with Summit. They do inspections for Summit. They replace their equipment if needed, et cetera. So this is just re-establishing that shared service agreement. It's a 2-year agreement, runs from January 2026 through December 31st of 2028 with an option for a 2-year renewal. Either party may terminate within 90 days' notice.
Okay, Bernadette. All good news, right?
Always good news.
Yeah.
If I can get to it, hold on. So just a few things. The pool bridge demolition of the old pool bridge happened last week. Great construction completed work on the abutments, and this week they are looking to complete inspection of the abutments and prep the abutments for the concrete pour and pour the concrete. Soon after that, there's a waiting period, I think, of 3 to 5 days for the concrete to harden, and then they'll lift the span up and put it in the middle, and we'll work from there. The Passaic Street Bridge, we're getting closer. I have no timeline. They did pave on Friday. I know that they've been doing some punch list items, and they are finishing, they're waiting for inspections, I believe, and then we should have that open. And leaf collection, deadline to purchase leaves is this Wednesday, November 12th. There's only one collection left on each side of town, but residents are able to bag their own leaves through December 8th and put them out for collection. Go ahead. Oh, I'm gonna go back, sorry. The borough is closed tomorrow for Veterans Day, and we are also closed on Thanksgiving Day and the Friday after.
On the abutments, I wasn't here. It seems more cosmetic, not as drastic as we thought.
There were some of the issues that came with the abutments came from demolishing the old bridge.
Right, that's what it looked like from the photos, yeah. Okay.
But for the most part, very little work.
Thank you.
And I was gonna say the opposite. I looked at it and said, wow.
Yeah, well, just from the picture,
So did they, I haven't been down there, have they lifted it in place yet or no?
No.
That's what she was.
Oh,
They have to get the abutments in first. right?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
fixing the base work.
I thought maybe they could just plop it, I don't know
They
anything
have
about
to
it.
fix it and then wait for it to cure for 3 to 5 days, and then
Yeah, okay.
she'll send us the thing.
Any
I'll
issues
go
or
with her.
concerns, anybody using the temporary bridge? I haven't been over there.
No, the only thing I will share with you is New Providence High School has a home football game Friday night. I did already speak to the engineers about making sure that the site is cleaned up and so that we can maximize the amount of parking spots for the game.
Just a big game.
It's a huge game.
Big game.
It's a little game.
Yeah. And let's congratulate they're undefeated.
Amazing.
God bless them. Having a great year. Okay, I only have a couple things. One, Chief, you had your inspection with the police chiefs. It looks like they're recommending our 7th accreditation. Congratulations. I know it's not an easy process. And like I say, you guys do a hell of a job. You really do. Like Bernadette said, it's Veterans Day. I want to thank all the veterans for supporting our country. And You know, that's a great sacrifice going into the service, not only for them, but their families. So, I'm looking forward to going down and going to their brunch tomorrow and talking with them, and they're just a great bunch of guys, so, and women. So, just like a heartfelt thanks. All right, Kathleen.
Actually, all operations are normal, but I also wanted to acknowledge, I believe the girls' volleyball team
Yep.
is still progressing in the postseason
Tomorrow
playoffs.
afternoon, right?
Yeah,
Madison.
any other sports that I missed? I think all the other ones are.
No, unfortunately.
Kind of knocked out.
Soccer team lost.
The soccer team?
Lost.
Boys? The boys' soccer team.
But
Awesome.
you know what, I have to say, look at a small town like ours, a Group 1 school, and what we achieve year after year after year. It's just amazing. So, and a lot has to do with the parents supporting our students. So we want to thank them and the Board of Education for providing all the facilities and programs for them. Okay, Diane.
Thank you, Mayor. I actually have several things, and you know I always say go to the source for newprov.us and sign up for alerts on Notify Me. Community activities, to give some details, Tuesday, November 11th, which is tomorrow, is Veterans Day. We are celebrating with all veterans and inviting all residents to join us in saying thank you at the DeCorso Senior Center tomorrow at 11. Doors open at 10:15, and the event will feature a ceremony at 11:11 a.m., music by the Cover Girls, refreshments, and a presentation about Pershing and Eisenhower by John Lanza. On Thursday, November 13th, the PBA and the Recreation Department are offering a free women's self-defense class in the municipal gym at 7 o'clock. Please register. Registration is free, and it is open via Community Pass. If you have any questions, call the rec department. The annual holiday walk will take place on Friday, November 28th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. That is the day after Thanksgiving. Santa will arrive at 6 p.m. and a drone light show, which was a fan favorite, will take place at 6:30 p.m. with synchronized music at NP Fuel. It is brought to you by New Providence Business Group and the Borough. Small Business Saturday is all day on Saturday, November 29th. Please support our local businesses so they can keep bringing us amazing experiences like the holiday walk. Small Business Saturday is a national initiative to support local businesses. And we all know we have amazing businesses in our borough, and we like to try to support them every time we can. Night of 1,000 Stars, please save the date. That is going to happen on Friday, December 5th at 7 p.m. There are a few new things coming this year. Families can pick up ornaments for free at local businesses, take them home to decorate, and then bring them back to the event. Again, that is Friday, December 5th at 7 p.m. The second new addition is that there will be free family/group photos at the event, and attendees will receive an immediate digital copy that can be used to make holiday cards or whatever you want.
And there'll be hot chocolate.
Yep. There will be free hot cocoa, popcorn, and amazing entertainment. Don't forget about the entertainment. Winter catalog for the rec will be out next week, and classes begin in January on the borough website. And I'm going to tout this again. We as council and mayor and council are thrilled that our rec department and our borough continually go out for grants that are very beneficial to us. The $20,000 and the $3,000, the Kids Recreation Trust Fund and the Greening Union County, we go out for these every year and plant trees all over the borough and upgrade different recreation areas. So kudos to our department, kudos to the borough for always keeping the best interests at hand or on mind. And lastly, everybody talked about Board of Ed stuff. Oh, the other thing, In addition to all of our sports, fall play is 11/21, which is this Friday, and 11/22 Saturday. You can go to the website and look and look for all the details. And today is a happy 250th birthday to the U.S. Marines. As part of our Rev 250, give you a little fun facts. November 10th, 1775 was the date that the Continental Congress established the Continental Marines. And the Corps celebrations include traditions like a military ball and cake cutting. So that's awesome. And also, don't forget to apply for council advisory committees. So, no, sorry, I took your thunder.
Okay, Lisa.
So Beautification Committee has been busy securing donations and sponsorships for lighting up Centennial Park. They have been successful. They did raise sufficient dollars. They are still taking donations though, because there's always ongoing projects that they're looking to do. So that was a success. And as Diane said, I just want to encourage everyone, if you have anything to offer, if you want to volunteer, we do have a couple of volunteer committees that are looking for volunteers. So please go ahead and fill out the application. And if you're on a committee already, you do need to also reapply. Just remember to do that.
That's it. Nadine?
No, next week.
Next week, library next week. Stay tuned. Thank you, Mayor. So affordable housing. So if you recall at the last meeting, I had mentioned that we had some challengers to our affordable housing plan. We did have our first mediation session this last Friday. During that time, we presented some alternative ideas to the judge and the court master. From there, we're going to go back and put some more detail behind that and go back for another mediation session, I believe, at the beginning of December. So stay tuned for that. One reminder also that I mentioned at last meeting, tomorrow is the Mindful Generation. So this is the second in the series talking about how we can help kids be kids a little longer. A conversation on reclaiming childhood regardless of digital screens, managing household screen times, strategies for delaying smartphones, alternative devices and live demos. So tomorrow is K through 5. So that's, I have one in that age range. It is from 7 to 8:30. It is at the Media Center. And then on the 13th, I believe, is the next grade level. So I think that includes middle school and high school. So please stay tuned for that. It's a great program to go to, and I look forward to it. Yes, 11-13 is grades 6 through 12. So great program. I went to the first one, and I'm looking forward to this next one as well. And that's it for me.
Okay, Alex.
Everything's normal, just November is No Shave November. Prostate and colon cancer awareness. I'm not doing the beard for fashion statement. So for the men out there, please go check it out.
Okay, Matt?
So the only thing I wanted to mention was the planning board meeting on December 9th, where we'll pick up the Toll Brothers application. So I just wanted to just remind everybody of that. Other than that, operations normal.
Okay. All right, that was fast. Okay. At this time, we have public comments. Anybody wishing to address council, come up, give their name and address.
My name is John Kane, 54 Midvale Drive. The Sustainability Committee was here on August 12th, and we proposed a pilot composting program, and it was approved by council. And so I'm coming here just to get an update, because I want to get the high school students re-engaged in this.
So those RFQs are still going out in process with the rest of the ones for the reorg meeting in January. So all of it gets approved at the same time.
So, but I don't have a time frame.
So they're going out now. We'll have it back before in
So 6 months later. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no one?
You got
Okay.
Jim,
Who?
Jim.
Oh, you hid back there, Jim.
I don't know how much time I have. I guess it's only your comments, right? My name is Jim Liu. I live at 136 Southgate Road, and I have concerns about the high-density project in the town, and it's been going on for a while, right? So I have a couple comments. Some of them might be questions. The first one is about the property, two projects up near Mountain Avenue, 575 Mountain Avenue and 70 Ryder Way. I have worked there for 5 years at the peak of the corporate activities 20 years ago, and I am 23-year resident on Southgate Road. I heard there was a cul-de-sac proposal, and that I heard it was canceled. So can you verify for me whether or not the cul-de-sac proposal is still on the table?
Yeah, it looks like it's dead right now.
Meaning it's
Because-
not going to have a cul-de-sac
Yeah.
there? Okay, great, because I would be against it anyway, because that's,
Yeah, we've gotten numerous comments from numerous people
Right.
that they're not for it. And with with what's going on up there, we may have to change direction. What's very frustrating to me is that we've gone through rounds 1, 2, 3, and now we're in round 4. The court has approved 1, 2, and 3 years ago. Now, we're in 4, and everybody's challenging 3 and 2. And I said, this makes no sense. This is already court approved. Well, doesn't matter. And they keep changing the goalposts. And it's hard to, plan when you have all plans in place, all court approved, and they turn around and say, nah, forget it. We're going to start back from the beginning. So, it's extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
And we're far from not the only town. And every time you go against the court,
and thank
you
you.
lose.
Yeah, thank you,
So,
Mayor and Council, for
yeah.
working hard on it. And
Yeah.
this will link to a couple other questions
Yeah,
I'm gonna
go
have
ahead.
anyway. So, the cul-de-sac itself, the reason I'm against it is because that segment of Southgate itself, it's a public asset that's owned by the town, owned by us as the taxpayers. So if we put a cul-de-sac there, that effectively put that segment of the road as to the use of the private developers there. So we're giving up a public asset there if we do put a cul-de-sac there as proposed. So that's why I'm against it. The reason why, right, too, is of course we need that part to distribute the traffic and prevent the traffic jam. So, so it's good to hear that proposal is off the table, at least for now. My second question is, what are the rules, regulations in place to prevent developers from building, let's say, 6 or 7 floors of buildings in town? And I learned that there is a ordinance, local ordinance on building height. So my question is, how is the building height measured? Especially for buildings that's built on a huge slope, right? So we're talking about the property along Floral, we're talking about the property, at 70 Ryder. These properties have huge slopes. So my question again, how do we measure the building height?
It's all done by ordinance, and it's done by original grade. A lot of in other towns, a lot of people, the builders will come, increase the grade, with piles of dirt. No. We have the topographical map, so we know exactly where the original grade is and how high they can go with these things. So.
Again,
Can you go to the building department, they can give you all the information you want on that specific ordinance.
Thank you. I will definitely study more to it because, again,
You should come to the
yeah.
planning board meeting, because that's exactly what we're going through now.
Yeah, I do go.
Yeah.
I do go. There are multiple, but because there are multiple projects.
Yeah.
So I think this is commonality that I would like to understand more, and I just hope that our town do not give up give in on the ordinance. We need to hold it so that we don't have, buildings that's going to be extremely high, or also, I believe the developers are using this to develop as many units they can on that building, in those buildings,
We're
right?
doing the best we can with it,
Yeah.
so.
Thank you. And my next question is, since we have so many projects, do we have rules in place that if the town, let's say any member or direct relative on the planning board or any council members here, if they have personal interest in any of these projects, do they have the obligation to disclose?
No. In fact, every year we have to do that. We fill out a form, disclosure form. So none of us are involved in any of that.
Okay, so that
But
includes.
that's a good question. I
Okay.
think people have to understand it. Anybody on these boards have to fill out a disclosure form to the state, and I think they're due every year by April 30th, right? Yeah, so, what's that?
Denise just lets us know when they're due.
Yeah.
All right.
So, no, that's a good question.
Thank you. I hope none of my members here are realtor or developers that's going to have a personal interest in this project. So thank you for answering that. So regarding the Mount Laurel law that was enacted in 1970s, was there any deadline attached to it saying when the town need to meet those requirements?
Well, they're pressing us right now.
You have to show good faith effort
Yeah.
that you're,
Which we are,
So the-
because
Which we
we
are.
are putting into this
That is
development
correct.
projects.
But what I'm telling saying is that they keep moving the goalposts. So they're trying to move up all this building, so we're trying to be as responsible as we can without going to litigation. Because every time any town goes to litigation, they lose. It costs them a fortune. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah, I
But-
understand, yeah, because we are forced to approve the conversion of these commercial properties to residential, but I hope that we also have leverage to not let the developers jam in as many units in those properties as possible, because we still have time. As long as we're showing good faith,
Yes.
I think we don't have to approve each property to be, so high density, so.
that's the
So,
plan.
Jim, we've gone through a couple of different rounds, and we have been in full compliance with all of the rounds to ensure that we don't go to litigation and we don't receive what's called builder's remedy. So then they would have the ability to really come in and build anywhere. So we have always been responsible to our obligation. We have fulfilled our obligation, and we always do it with the best interests of the town at heart to minimize the impact on our residents. And we'll continue to do that.
Quite honestly, I was born and raised here. I can't believe what's being imposed on the communities. And it's not only here, it's all over the state. And what bothers me is that cities like Jersey City, all Hudson County, a lot of Essex County, even Montclair, suburban community, right? They're exempt.
Yep.
Why? They're building a lot of these affordable units in those towns, and they don't include them. And it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Thank you, those are
Okay,
all
thank you,
all my
Jennifer.
questions and comments. Thank you.
Okay.
Just for your information, though, on the website, newprov.us, under government affordable housing, under departments, there is a whole bunch of information, and there's a 2025 fourth round housing element and fair share plan. Gives you the history and all of the different steps that we've all been mentioning.
Thanks, Jim.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Do we have to repeat ourselves if we agree with,
No.
And we all agree with you, too.
Yeah.
We agree with you as well.
I'm at 163 Ryder.
Well, you have to
Come on up,
come
come
up
on up.
and
Okay. So, actually, Bob Gregory actually lives next door to me, and he asked me to give you this.
What is it?
It's just how he feels about,
I've spoken to Mr. Gregory a number of times about dead trees.
yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot going
Yeah.
on. So I'm Benjamin Cadmus, 163 rider. I would not like that cul-de-sac. And I agree about the height ordinance, because if you look out my front, all you see is trees, and it's very nice and quiet and peaceful. And I don't see any buildings right now. Now, I know I'll probably see something, but having the condos on my side, we don't get a lot of sun to begin with because of the tree height, but with condos there, that's not gonna work for me either, so.
I understand completely. You should come to the planning board meeting.
I definitely
It's,
will.
That'll probably be in January for that site, 70 Rider. The applicant is very, knows very well about the buffers with the trees and everything else, so, and we are too. So, and the problem is, they want to change a lot of the driveway configurations and things like that, so.
Sidewalks.
Well, yeah, I'm a big stickler for the sidewalks, so I think we'll get the sidewalks in, but,
All right, well,
Yeah.
thank you for your time.
okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name's Scott Sofali, I'm at 191 right-of-way. I guess I have a slightly different opinion about the cul-de-sac. I'm a 30-year resident in New Providence, and, you know, when I heard about it at the planning board meeting, thought it was a great idea. So I'll just read my statement. I don't know, it sounds like it's dead, but that was duly noted, I guess. So at the planning board meeting on Tuesday, October 21st, the creation of a cul-de-sac at the intersection of Rider-Way and Southgate, which, by the way, is right where my house is, was mentioned as a possible solution to the increased traffic created by the planned construction of two major housing projects at the top. We've talked about that, right? I fully support the creation of the cul-de-sac at the intersection to alleviate the increased traffic flows created by probably 500 to 1,000 vehicles parking at these two facilities. I firmly believe the creation of a cul-de-sac in this location serves the best interests of the vast majority of residents living in the Murray Hill section of New Providence. On a daily basis, it would effectively direct hundreds of vehicles from the proposed new facilities to use Mountain Avenue instead of flowing down the hill using the current residential communities within Murray Hill as a cut-through. I think any objections would only benefit 13 or 14 homes on Rider Way and would just serve to push the traffic problem further down Southgate Road to the rest of Murray Hill. Safety and quality of life for the vast majority of residents of Murray Hill section would be best served by the creation of this cul-de-sac. In addition, any future development on the Bell Labs campus only strengthens the argument and importance of the cul-de-sac, as traffic could potentially use Southgate as a cut-through. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen with Bell Labs, but then all those people are probably going to cut through too. So it just seemed to make a hell of a lot of sense, but if it's dead right now, it's dead, but.
I don't disagree with you, totally. But you know what, the way they're gonna reconfigure all these driveways, all that traffic's gonna go there anyway. They're gonna come out of Southgate, make a right, and then make another left, and make another right down to Southgate, so, you know, we're gonna see what we can do to make it as safe as possible. Union County's also gonna reconfigure all the lights up there, so.
Because it could end up putting a traffic light there instead of a cul-de-sac at some point. That'd be great, you know, just, I think it's,
No, I understand what you're saying.
anyway. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, anyone else wishing to address council? Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed. I need a motion for 1 through 22, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Oh, roll call.
Ms. Owen?
Yes.
Ms. Belisca?
Aye.
Mrs. McKnight?
Yes.
Mrs. Joffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Kogan?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Can I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
No? So be it. Thank you, boy. Have a good Veterans Day. And you know what? Thank you for good comments tonight.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's gonna be Thanksgiving. I'm gonna